Welcome, freaks and freak bobs. Today I'm going to show you how I brought my dream creature bug plushie thingy to life. He is based on these 90s, early 2000s plushes with like soft bodies but a plastic face. Those kind of toys have been around for a long time, but I was specifically inspired by the glowworm and his like equally endearing and off-putting energy. It's my favorite. So I wanted his vibe to be like a mix of the glowworm and those lots of leg caterpillar plushes, but make him sort of a centipede thing. And of course, make him my current favorite color. I was just messing around and this is the freak I came up with. Once I was happy with his concept design, it was time to work on the fabric. I actually bought this pink fuzzy blanket from Walmart to use as fabric to sew with because that was cheaper than buying plush fabric. And then I went ahead and dyed it in increasingly diluted versions of the dye so I could achieve that like ombre that I had in his concept sketch. After that, I pretty much freehanded the design. I just cut out a bunch of rectangles for the body and then freehanded the head and end of the tail shape that I'm going to attach to each end of the body. I sewed all the rectangles into a tube to construct the body. I stuffed the tube and then went back in and hand stitched, like cinched each section so it would look more defined. There's probably a better way to do that, but that's what I did. Then I made 2,000 million little legs, and I found that it was easier to copy this technique I've seen other plushie creators do, where they sew the little sew the little shapes together while they're still all on one big piece of fabric, and then after you've sewn the outline, cut them out. And I found that did save a lot of time rather than trying to like line up these two tiny pieces and pin them together and sew them and then turn them right side out. I think it worked pretty well. To attach all the appendages to his body, I just whip stitched each piece on where I wanted it to be. Once again, there's probably a better way to do this, but it worked out and I'm happy with it. Once I'd finished the sewing process, it was time to make his silly little face. And I did that using polymer clay. I did not get very much footage of me sculpting this. You kind of only see me making a pancake and then boom, it's done, as seen right here. But what's nice about polymer clay is you can use a Dremel or just sandpaper to kind of clean up the imperfections and smooth everything out. And this is how the face looked after I was done sanding it. Now, I had already done a mock-up of his eyes on the initial sketch, but I decided I wanted to print out the base for the eye instead of like hand drawing it, and I needed a higher quality, more detailed version of his eyes for that. So this is the speed paint of me making his silly pupils. My plan was to create the eye chips and then attach them to the faceplate. And because I didn't have any like glass eye chips or access to like 3D printing or UV resin or something, I ended up printing out my design for the eyes and then going over it with thin layers of UV gel polish, which is really similar to UV resin, but less scary. And yeah, I just felt like I had more control doing thin layers to start coating it, making it sturdy. I added more details with the polishes and like added some fun little sparkles. And yeah, just topped it off with some layers of the clear to start giving it that eye dome shape. This is how the finished eyes looked before I attached them to the face. I just super glued them into the little divots I had made for his eyes, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. Then I broke out the pastels to do some light shading under like his lips and his eyeballs and just a little bit around the face and like add some blushing. This next part is really scary. I invested in some knockoff Posca like brush acrylic pens, and I had never used them before and just went straight onto drawing on his face, which was really brave of me. But it did turn out okay, and I'm really happy with his silly looking face and really excited to use these markers for other projects. I decided to not show you the full finished face until the big reveal, which you get to see in just a minute. I am super happy with how this project came out, even if she is very long, much longer than I anticipated, but that's okay. That just means there's more for to love. I had a lot of fun with this, and I definitely want to make more creatures. I've been in a very creaturey, buggy mood lately. I actually have an ongoing zine project called Freakstalgia, and this month's issue was bug themed, and you can go check that out for free. Link in the description. I wish I could show all of her a little better, but she is beautiful. I don't have any name ideas. She's yet unnamed, so if anyone has name suggestions, you should put them in the comments. She's kind of quiet. Thank you for watching, and come back later for some more silly, freaky, buggy time. Bye, guys. Yes. Also, I thrifted this shirt. Tell me that it's really cool and funny. I think it's pretty funny.